I wanted to say thank you, Abraham. I'm so enjoying listening to the tapes and to be able to be here.
Yes.
What I want to talk about is about wealth and my reaction to wealth. And I'm quite good at making money. I just don't keep it. And I think it has something to do with what I see people, particularly my sister, the way that she is around wealth.
What does she do with her money? She doesn't keep it?
She's married to somebody who makes a lot of money.
Yes.
And
how decadent.
She has changed the way that she is.
Yes.
I used to relate to her very well.
Yes.
And she passes a lot of judgment about how people live their lives. And so whilst I want to be wealthy, I don't want to be like that.
Jerry and Esther were talking recently. They were talking about a particular person who has so many wonderful qualities. And Jerry was talking about what a wonderful role model this person is. And then he said, but this aspect of this person's life is not something I want to emulate. And this aspect is not something that I want to emulate. And we say, pick the pieces that you want to emulate and emulate them, and leave the pieces that you don't want to emulate. In other words, it could be a very rich pirate with one wooden leg, and you may not want the wooden leg.
Yeah.
You can leave that part out.
Yes.
You have the ability to focus upon the aspects until you vibrationally ring yourself into alignment with what you want. Don't ask anyone on the planet to be the ideal role model, for there cannot be one. You are the creator of your ideal role model vibrational image which you are reaching for. In other words, when you think about it, that role model is this desire over here that you're always moving toward. You will not find it in one place or in one person.
I guess what I do is I feel like I have to be responsible for making the money. And in my life, that's how I have operated. So I fight off anybody that could possibly give me any support, any help, any assistance.
Is the making of money the way you validate your existence? In other words, have you equated earning money with value?
Being responsible. I have equated it with being responsible.
Well, now, think about responsible people that you know who don't have much money. Have you ever known anyone who was extremely responsible, but that didn't necessarily have a lot of money?
Yeah, I guess my father.
In fact, you know a lot of people who were extremely responsible who didn't have any money. And so you can separate those two things, can't you, really, if you're trying to make the best of it instead of the worst of it?
Yeah.
So now where are you in this? Go back to your sister and tell us again how bad she is.
She's not. She's lovely. She is absolutely gorgeous. She's very kind. She's very generous.
And
she's
so
very
what
funny.
is this bone you are picking with her? In other words, what's it about? Why is it a sore spot with you?
She has forgotten that...
How do you know she's forgotten? Because she doesn't talk to you about it. Are you sure she's forgotten what you think she's forgotten? She's forgotten how to be poor, or she's forgotten how to worry about money. She's forgotten how to complain about not having enough money. What is it she's forgotten?
No, she tells me how to live my life. Maybe it's not forgotten. It's that having money allows her to tell me how to live my life.
Well, did you tell us that you want more money? Could she be misunderstanding? In other words, could your desire for money be being translated by her as a question about how she got there? Could she be assuming that you want what she has, and could she be offering in response to that? Is that possible? And more importantly, does giving her the benefit of the doubt make you feel better or worse? This is the most important question we have ever asked you. It's the most important question you will ever answer. No pressure. Does giving her the benefit of the doubt make you feel better or worse?
Worse. Yeah.
So we don't really think it's about her, do you? In other words, what you just said is, when I think a positive thought about her,
yes,
I feel bad.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
that's all right. So what's that saying? What that's saying is, the better she is, the worse I feel.
Yes.
What that's saying is, when she succeeds, it points out to me my lack of success.
Absolutely.
And I wish she would stop doing that.
Yes.
And what you really mean is, I want her to feel good and I want to feel good.
Yes.
And it's not logical, is it, that I can feel good or she can feel good, but we both can't feel good at the same time. It's one or the other. In other words, you know that's not true, don't you?
I'm not sure. I guess I learnt that one or the other had to feel good.
So there's not only a shortage of money, there's a shortage of the feeling of feeling good.
Yeah.
Now, where does that start? Where do you get your first whiff of that? Was there only so much love to go around from Mother? Could Mother only appreciate one of you at a time? What?
Yes, I guess that's it.
So if Mother liked her, she wasn't paying attention to me.
Yes.
And if Mother liked me, she wasn't paying.
Yes.
So we've been in competition for the good stuff right from the get-go.
Absolutely.
But now you know oh so much more. Because now you know Mother's not the source of the stream, first of all.
Right.
The stream is flowing equally to all. And you're letting it in or you're not letting it in, but you could never open up to the stream and use so much of it that you would deprive someone else. You know that on many levels. In other words, you don't say, I've been well for so long, I think I'll be sick for a few years and let sick people be well. I've been using more than my fair share of the wellness for far too long, so I'm going to get really sick and let all of these sick people be. Why? You don't do that because you know your wellness or sickness doesn't have anything to do with them.
Right.
So in the same way, you don't say, I think I'll remain poor for a few more years and just let a few more poor people be rich. Now, there are a lot of people that think like that, but
right.
There couldn't be anything that is more screwy in the way you approach your experience, because there is a stream that flows, and it is a huge, abundant stream that expands proportionate to the desire that is born. And the only thing that causes someone to be deprived of the stream is their own vibrational choice of something that deprives them. Your sister hasn't got anything to do with the way your mother loves you. Your sister doesn't have anything to do with the abundance that flows to you. And we want you to find a way of letting yourself off the hook by letting her off the hook.
Right.
You have to feel your way there. Or you really can't go from that feeling of jealousy to gratefulness
Right.
in one step.
Okay.
Without changing the subject.
Okay.
So what is it we're trying to bridge here? In other words, what's the point of the resistance?
The point of the resistance.
My sister's getting all the good stuff.
And my sister is also, whenever she comes to visit, is also trying to make it difficult between my mother and I. So she's jealous of me in that respect.
All right, so now that beating of that drum, which way did it take you? Back or
Forward?
forward?
Forward, because I understand.
So what you're saying is, it feels better to blame my sister than to feel the unworthy guilt that I've been feeling.
Yeah.
Now, did you feel that with her? That's right. But now for the first time, as you take that feeling of blame and you do it on purpose, you gain a little ground.
Yeah.
And can you feel some empowerment coming back with that understanding? Yeah. So would you agree that her set point has moved from unworthiness and jealousy into some justifiable blame? We would. So now beat that drum a little bit and let's make sure that this really is your new set point. Ramble.
Okay.
And let's see if you go this way or this way from your rambling. Start with your last words.
Okay.
My sister tries to make trouble.
Yes.
When she comes, she tries to stir up trouble.
Yeah. And I'm learning how to deal with that. Sometimes I take myself out of the house. Sometimes because she comes and stays at my mother's house with her children and her husband. And I take myself out of the house. Or if she's causing trouble, then I walk away.
So she doesn't control me, and now I know why I feel like I feel, and I don't feel disempowered in it, so I don't go running away, I just walk away.
Yeah.
I walk away empowered.
Yeah.
That feels pretty good, doesn't
Yeah.
it? So now if you had to find a word, would you call it in control or out of control?
Mostly in control.
Would you call it resentful, or would you call it determined?
Oh, determined.
Oh, that's very good. Determined feels much better than resentful, because resentful is sort of disempowering, and determined is empowering. So now what? Want to try to go further?
Yeah.
So you're feeling determined. You don't feel a victim. You don't feel so disempowered. You don't feel so guilty. You don't even feel so blameful. In other words, your determination is certainly more life-giving in terms of oxygen than the feeling of blame. And so you sort of want to stay there for a little while. Now what? Could you get from hopefulness to there? Could you make the jump from determination to, I'm hoping that things will get better between us, and I would like to understand the way she thinks, but I don't really have to understand the way she thinks. I hope she has a happy life. I certainly intend to have a happy life. In other words, we think you can make those jumps wholeheartedly. In other words, we don't feel any reservation in your vibration as you do that. And from here, it's easy to just keep moving up. Now, here's the thing that we think about all of this. You moved quickly with our encouragement.
Right.
And none of it was faked. In other words, every vibrational move you made, you really made. So your set point, your vibrational set point on this subject has moved tremendously. Don't be alarmed if that feeling of jealousy flares up again, because it very well may. But when it does, it will be so much easier for you to move back over to that determination and that hopefulness than ever before. And before you know it, you'll have this new set point where it will be impossible for your sister to ever make you jealous. Because you'll be saying and meaning things like, I'm always moving forward, and I'm in the process of determining what I want, and good things are always coming to us, and we have different sets of intentions, and the universe adores me too, and the path of my well-being does not come through the root of your well-being. You can't pinch it off. When Esther was a little girl, they lived in a rural town, and while their acreage was not very large, it was really too big to water with a sprinkler. And so there were water rights that moved through this area, and there were farmers around. And so Esther's mother got out the deed to their house and read about the water rights to their property and determined that a river that then went into a very fast-moving ditch, carried water into the farmer's fields, and that she was entitled to 6 hours a week of that water. It was written right into her deed. And so she went to figure out how to do it. And the problem was the ditch bank was lower on the other side of the crest of the hill. So the water always went naturally that way. And so she got some stakes and some canvas, and she built the ditch bank up herself because she was determined that she was going to get those 6 hours of water into her backyard. And so she would go and spend an afternoon putting the stakes in the ground and putting the canvas. Esther can remember helping her. And then the water would be directed into her backyard, and then the water would stop flowing, and she would look, and the farmer had come and knocked her stakes down. And things like that give people the impression that there is this finite stream that they are squabbling over. And that if somebody gets some of it, then somebody else will get less of it. And we want you to understand that that is not the way this stream of well-being, the stream of oxygen, the stream of health, the stream of clarity, the stream of value, that's not the way it flows. You all are directly connected to the stream. And it is only you that has your finger on any valve closing mechanism, you see. And so, as you free yourself from this bondage and understand that your sister never had anything to do with it, you will then revel in her success without feeling that reveling in her success could in any way thwart your own.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful. You're getting the hang of this. You're feeling the power returning to yourself. You're no longer tensed against your own negative emotion. And in the same way that you don't take your hammer and bang the gas tank indicator out of the dash when it reads empty, you're no longer wanting to beat up on yourself when you have negative emotion, but instead adore your conscious awareness of the indicator and then do something about it. Good time for a segment of lunch. We are complete.